Today on KUJH News, big parking changes are in the works for the next school year, how this reduction in parking will affect you, and the end of an era. KU seniors play their last game in Allen Fieldhouse this weekend, how they're feeling about the milestone, and...
I'm Kirsten Peterson. Presidential candidate Bernie Sanders made a stop in Lawrence just 2 days before the Kansans cast their votes. We'll keep you updated on how the Kansas caucuses could affect the race to the White House. KUJH News starts now.
From the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Because we're doing something very radical. We're telling the truth.
A blunt message from Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. Thanks for joining us. I'm Angelina Dom. Lawrence was definitely feeling the burn last night as Sanders made a last push to win over Kansas before they caucus on Saturday.
After having rallied voters in Kansas City, presidential candidate Bernie Sanders was back to Kansas a week later, except this time in Lawrence on Thursday night. During the rally, Bernie Sanders really spoke on issues regarding women's rights and abortion, raising the minimum wage, and education, which really means a lot in a college town like Lawrence. Looking forward to Saturday, Bernie urges people to get out there and vote.
I think it's great that we have a presidential candidate that cares so much about women's rights, especially because he's not a woman and he's not getting any gain from it, and especially like how he sees the value in like college students.
I mean, I agree with him 100%. I've always saw Bernie as the most genuine candidate and the one that always saw what I needed versus what like the top 1% that he always talks.
With only 2 days left before the Kansas caucuses, Bernie Sanders' timing on hosting a rally in Lawrence was crucial to get votes.
I think you can get a really good college crowd out here and get a lot of people to go out and vote, not just come out to the rally, but really come out and go to the polls, and we can really make a difference.
Of the Treasury.
Reporting for KUJH News, I'm Kirsten Peterson.
Big changes are coming for KU's admission policy. KUJH reporter Emma Hogue finds out why next year's freshman class may have a harder time being admitted.
Senior year of high school can be stressful while looking at colleges, and KU's new higher admission standards could possibly add to that stress. But Free State student Holly Flitcraft says she doesn't mind the change.
I feel like better to say that I go to KU other than being like, oh, I go to KU. It's super easy to get in.
KU and K-State are among other state schools that have had the same admission requirements for years. But starting with next year's freshman class, that's no longer the case.
The new requirements allow the University of Kansas to have different requirements than the other state universities. And there's basically two ways for incoming freshmen to be admitted to KU now.
In the past, KU students were admitted with at least a 2.0 GPA or a 21 on their ACT. But with the new requirements, students can have either a 3.25 GPA and an ACT score of 21, or a 3.0 GPA and an ACT score of 24.
The goal is to hopefully have a stronger academic profile.
The university crafted these changes 4 years ago after the Kansas Board of Regents passed a regulation saying state schools could propose different admission requirements.
So we're the only ones. The other 5 state schools are still following the same admission requirements.
However, not all students are pleased with the changes.
This year, my friend has like a 2.7, I think, and she didn't get accepted, and she's also put on a waiting list, but if she would have applied last year, then she would have got in, I'm sure.
Yet another reason for aspiring Jayhawks to keep their grades up. Reporting from Lawrence, Emma Hogue, KUJH News.
Hey Angelina, good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you at home too. I want to start off by taking a look at our almanac. Our high temperature yesterday was 67 degrees. That's slightly above average. Temperature today's are much closer to average, around 64, 65 or so the last time I checked. The big difference between today and yesterday though is the wind. It is not nearly as windy today as it was yesterday. And if you ask me, that's a fairly good relief too, because hair flying all over in your face, it's annoying. Our record high for today was 85 degrees. We're not going to see any temperatures that high for a while, and in fact our temperatures will be going down into the 50s over the next 5 days or so as well. But first, let's take a look at your forecast for tonight if you're going to be going out. At 7 p.m., 58 degrees. We're going to have clear skies all night long, 53 at 9 p.m., and then as we go on into the early morning hours, 36 at 1 a.m. and 32 degrees at 3 a.m.